So, as on the first level, there are two levels of understanding of word Rahman, especially the word Rahman. So let's just for our quick reference, we have said that Rahman and Rahim, they both have a same meaning, but the implication or understanding are different. They both mean merciful, but when we say Rahman, it is the mercy of Allah for the entire humankind, all mankind. Allah has mercy on all mankind. But when we say Rahim, we are talking about Allah's mercy, especially for the muttaqeen, for those who He has favored, or for those who have purified themselves. यानी कि रहमान अवाम के लिए है और रहीम खवास के लिए है. In English, the Rahman is for the common and the Rahim are for the few. An example that we had used, that when Imam does things under the AKF amendment, he worked for the entire humanity, for the benefit of everybody. लेकिन जब वो जमात खाने में आकर दीदार के अंदर फरमान के साथ हमें खाना वादान देता है, that is the attribution of Rahim only and only for the followers. So Imam is Rahman when he works for the entire humanity, and Imam is Rahim when he works and gives his blessing to the followers. And that's where we had stopped last week. And that's where this reference of the question comes in. But in Quran, especially in two different places. One is ayat 60 of Surah Furqan. Surah Furqan is 25, ayat number is 60. This ayat reads that when Allah says to the people that follow or they prostrate to Rahman, then people say, we don't understand. Who is Rahman? What is Rahman? Rahman कौन है? Rahman क्या है? Why should we prostrate to Rahman? So this ayat is clearly telling us that there are people, because it is the ayat in the Quran. So this ayat, it refers to all the readers, I thought, and you thought, that no Muslim who reads Quran would have any objection to prostrating to Rahman. Then what is this ayat? Who is this ayat talking about? Someone can say maybe it's talking about other than Muslims. But then again, we see even Christian. They may not have a word Rahman, but they are still prostrating to the same Allah, who's Rahman and Rahim. Then someone can say maybe he's talking about Jewish, but they are also prostrating to the same Allah. They may not know the name. Matter of fact, everything in the universe, sometime willingly and sometime unwillingly, are prostrating to Allah, the Rahman and the Rahim. If that is the case, then I think Allah is only and only talking about those readers of the Quran who understand Quran. This ayat is a challenge for the Muslims of all sects, and is especially challenge an eye-opener for those followers and those readers who truly understand the meaning of Rahman. And let's read this ayat in its complete, so you will see why am I saying that. What is the logic behind my argument? Ayat goes, and when it is said to them, जब उनको कहा जाता है, prostrate to Rahman, रहमान को सजदा करो, they say, वो कहते हैं, and what is the Rahman? ये रहमान क्या है? Should we prostrate to that which you order us? कि तुम हमें जो कहते हो उसको हम सजदा करें? And it increases them in dislike. बल्कि उनका जो मुंह का मजा है और भी खराब हो जाता है, उनको और भी गुस्सा आ जाता है. I'm going to give a couple of examples. Remember, there is Imam's Farman that do not talk about other religion, so I will not. But I will give some hints, and if you are wisdomful and intellectual, you will understand what I'm saying without saying. You can read between the line. Example number 1. Those who did not prostrate, followed, accepted Ali. This ayat is for them. Because Ali was the Rahman and Rahim, and especially Rahman for all. This ayat is for those who do not accept Rahman and Rahim Imam today. Because Imam is Rahman and Rahim today. This ayat is for those Ismailis with utmost and humble apology. This ayat is for those Ismaili who does not believe in Imam as Rahman and Rahim and his Nur, and do not prostrate to Imam today. Now I'm going to read this ayat once again to make my point. And when it is said to them, जिस तरह से फरिश्तों को कहा गया था कि आदम को सिजदा करो, तो इब्लीस ने कहा हम सिजदा नहीं करेंगे. Prostrate to Rahman, and they said, रहमान क्या है? Iblis said, why would I prostrate to this insan, this human, this body? He never said he will not prostrate to Allah. He refused to prostrate to Adam, and that's what made him Iblis, the shaitan, other than angels. So, and what is the Rahman? वो मजाक करते हैं और कहते हैं कि रहमान क्या चीज है? Should we prostrate to that which you order us? This is a direct question to Rasul. Should we follow who you are telling us to follow, the Ali? That is a direct question to Allah. Should we follow your selection of Ali? Matter of fact, and it increases them in dislike. उनका मुंह का मज़ा खराब हो जाता है, इनका डिसलाइक बढ़ जाता है, इंक्रीज हो जाता है। वो पसंद नहीं करते हैं जब उनको कहा जाता है कि इमाम को फॉलो करो, इमाम को सजदा करो। That is one part of your question. Another surah and ayat is Surah Rahman itself. The entire ayah named after Rahman. Surah Rahman is 55. And we will look at just 4 first ayat. Surah Rahman, ayat number 1, 2, 3 and 4. Because Rahman has another meaning hidden behind it. And what is that meaning hidden behind it? The Rahman is also the teacher, the guide, the light for those who believe in Him. Who believes in Him? And let's look at this. It says, I'm going to read all 4 first and we will come to each one of them again. Ar-Rahman thought the Quran, created the man and thought the speech. ये 4 आयतें हैं उर्दू में आपके लिए। ar-Rahman सिखाता है कुरान, उसको जिंदगी देता है, पैदा करता है और उसको बोलना, बयान करना सिखाता है। नाउ ar-Rahman, यहां पर आपने देखा, it did not mention Allah, did not mention Rabb, did not mention any other attribution, but the word Rahman, because Rahman has a special meaning to this name. And what is that? That once someone follows him, truly follows him, हकीकी मायनों में उसको फॉलो करता है, उसकी इत्तेहाद करता है, तो फिर and then what does he do? He teaches him or them Quran. अब यहाँ पर जो तवज्जो तलब बात है, here it requires some of your attention, because here it comes that Rahman teaches the Quran first and फिर वो उसको जिंदा करता है. Wait a minute, don't you have to be living alive to read and understand the Quran? For him to teach you Quran, don't you have to be alive first? But in this ayat Allah says that it is Rahman who teaches them Quran और फिर उसको जिंदा करता है, then he makes him alive. यहाँ पर बातीन की बात है. That's why we are covering this chapter in our chapter of Batini Tariqa. हम today we look like we are alive, but we are not alive in the eyes of the Rahman. When he will make us alive in true Batini sense, after he teaches us Quran. Once we learn the Batin and the meaning of the Quran, then in the true sense, हकीकी मायनों में, we will become alive. हम जिंदा हो जाएंगे. Once we are alive, he will teach us the bayan, the speech. What does it mean? Remember कि हम already जिंदा हैं, हम already बोल रहे हैं. He will teach you the interpretation. He will give you the language and a tongue with which you will be able to read, understand, and explain the Quran to others. So in conclusion, the bottom line of this surah and ayat, the Imam, the Rahman, in your batin will teach you the Quran and its interpretation. Remember, Imam had said 12 years ago that it is the Imam who will do the interpretation of Quran. Where? How have you seen Imam doing the interpretation? Because he does the interpretation of Quran for those mu'mineen in their batin who truly follow and recognize the Imam. उसके बातिन में वो इंटरप्रिटेशन करता है, उसके बातिन को जिंदा करता है. Then he makes them alive in their batin, and then he teaches. He gives them the language and a tongue, and he teaches them the interpretation, the tawilat of the Quran. So here I will stop with this beautiful question, and I truly appreciate that you had asked this question and draw our attention for the benefit of all. This question was one of the best questions in a long time. Thank you for this question. So let's come to the next and very important and good question. And that question was asked by one of the listeners here on this line. And she said, that can you explain wherein I said that Imam is always present? And she writes a couple of underlining questions, and I believe she also asked in our class last week that we thought that Mullah Ali was the first physical Imam. And here she used the word physical Imam. And if there was the Imam, she says, before Mullah Ali, were the physical Imam or were the Imam in the batin? So let's take this as a one whole question, not as a three different question, but as a one whole question. Was there Imam present before Mullah Ali? That is the question. Simple question. The answer is yes, and yes, definitely. Because Allah's habit never ever changes. Allah की habit ला तब्दील है. Fitratullah never changes. Meaning, it's not that Allah does one thing today and different thing tomorrow. And as we had mentioned before, the names and the title may be different. Sometimes he call a guide Prophet, sometimes he call that guide Rasul, sometimes he may call him Natik, sometimes he call him Imam, sometimes he call him Peer. Names are different, but the guidance of Allah, meaning the Imams are always and always and always present on this earth. Now we are talking about the particularly Imam. How do we prove that Imam is always present on this earth? And here are some of the examples and arguments. First, 1771, Surah 17, Ayah 71. All people will be called to Allah on the day of judgment with their Imam. The word Imam is used in Quran at this point. If all the people will be called on the day of judgment with their Imam, and let's say for the sake of argument for a second, there was no Imam before Ali, then what about those people who came between Adam and Mullah Ali? All those time for close to 5,000 years. How will they be called on the day of judgment if there was no Imam? Second argument. where Prophet Muhammad says, Ali is to me as Harun was to Musa. अली की मिसाल मेरे साथ ऐसी है जैसे हारून की मिसाल मूसा के साथ. As Ali is my Janashin and Imam after me, Harun was Musa's Janashin and Imam after him. Third example, Ummatun in Surah 3, Al Imran, ayat number 103 to 107. And another same ayat in Surah 16, 120. The Ummah of the Prophet Muhammad. Imams from the Ummah, the progeny or the Aale Nabi se Imamat ka silsila. And remember the habit of Allah. हर प्रॉफिट के बाद, हर नातिक के बाद एक इमामत का सिलसिला होता है. There were imams in between all prophets. यानी कि आदम और नोवा के दरमियान में भी इमाम थे. नोवा और इब्राहिम के दरमियान में भी इमाम थे. And since we are at the subject of Ibrahim, Ibrahim himself was called Imam in the Quran. The Surah 4, Surah Al-Nisa, ayat number 54. Imam himself is called, Ibrahim himself is called Imam. Another proof of the Ibrahim being Imam is in Surah or Ayah Safa, Surah Al Imran number 3, Ayah number 33, where Allah said, I have selected Adam, Noah, and then he says, Ibrahim and Ale Ibrahim, Imran and Ale Imran. So you notice, when Allah says Adam, He did not say Adam and Ale Adam. He just says Adam. Noah, He did not say Ale Noah. But when He said Ibrahim, He said Ibrahim and Ale Ibrahim. क्योंकि इब्राहिम इमाम था तो उसी की लाइन से, उसी की प्रोजनी से नूरन अला नूर इमामत का सिलसिला जारी और सारी था. और यहाँ पर ये कुरान के अंदर इशारा है इब्राहिम के लिए. एंड लुक एट आले इमरान. आप तमाम जानते हैं, ऑल ऑफ यू नो, इमरान इज द नेम ऑफ अबू तालिब. सो व्हाट आर वी सेइंग? Abu Talib was also Imam, and Ale Imran, meaning Ali, and all the way to Shah Karim today will be the Imams. तो जहाँ पर इमाम का जिक्र आया वहाँ पर आले इब्राहिम और आले इमरान का वर्ड यूज किया गया. जहाँ पर पैगंबरों का किस्सा आया और बात आई, so only were used Adam and Noah. This is for our learning and teaching, and I would recommend you would write this ayat down as a reference, 333. And I already given you the example of Ibrahim, Surah 2, Surah Baqarah, ayat number 124, where is mentioned that Ibrahim was made the Imam of the people. And then we also talked about Al Imran in 454. Another and the last example, which we have already given above, but I want to repeat here, Imam of all the time, 1771. क्योंकि अगर इमाम नहीं होगा तो एक कौन गाइड करेगा. और दूसरी एग्जाम्पल एंड Pay attention to this example. As an Ismaili, in our belief, in our tariqah, can anyone receive the Isme Azam without Imam? Can anyone else give the Isme Azam without Imam or other than Imam? अगर इमाम ही खाली only the Imam इसमें आज़म दे सकता है, can give the इसमें आज़म, then let's think this together. A prophet cannot become prophet without the ibadat and bandagi, and no one can do ibadat and bandagi without the isme azam, and no one can have isme azam without the imam. Then who gave isme azam to all 124,000 prophets? Where did they receive the isme azam from? And how they were doing ibadat without the isme azam? Because without the isme azam there is no ibadat, and without the ibadat there is no elevation of spiritual. May I request everybody to mute your phone, please?
Hello?
Please mute your phone, please. Thank you. There is no Isme Azam without the Imam. There is no Ibadat without the Isme Azam. And there is no elevation of spiritual life or the higher rank without the Ibadat. And we see all the prophets have received the highest level of spirituality to become the prophet, Pegambar, Rasul, Natik, Awliya, Anbiya. And the final point. The Imam after Imam also receives Isme Azam from the previous Imam. Meaning, हमारे करंट इमाम ने अपने प्रीवियस इमाम से इसमें आज़म हासिल किया होगा. And the current Imam will give Isme Azam to the next upcoming Imam, because there is no Isme Azam without the Imam. So I think this is good enough references and argument of the this question. So I think we are done with all these 3 questions for the day, and we have a few minutes. If anyone has a comments or question, please go ahead.
I want to ask something. Before this question was asked, you mentioned that whoever the person was asking was also asking how the Imam is actually present in our lives as a Batin. So I think you mentioned all the references of the Imam coming in, but I think you missed, I don't know, maybe I didn't hear it, how Imam is present in Batin. Can you explain more?
What I said and explained was, Imam were always and always physically present before Ali and after Ali, because what I said, the habit of Allah does not change. If Allah wanted to keep the Imams in Batin only, then He would have kept Imam in Batin today. But He did not do that, did He? So the question, or good question or right question, if you give me permission to ask on your behalf, would be, can you give us a name or names of some of the Imams before Mawla Ali? I already given you 2 names. Abu Talib was the Imam before Mawla Ali. Abu Muttalib was the Imam before Abu Talib. Ibrahim was the Imam mentioned in the Quran. Ismail was the Imam after him. And let me take you all the way back to Adam. And what I said, a prophet, a pagambar cannot become a pagambar without the ibadat and spiritual elevation. And he cannot have ibadat or spiritual elevation without Ismi Azam. And he cannot have Ismi Azam without the Imam. So the name of the Imam of the time of Adam was Imam Hunayd, and the Imam after Adam was Imam Shish. Imam before Noah was Maulana Hud. Imam after Noah was Imam Sam, Maulana Sam. And we already heard the Imam after Ibrahim was Ismail. But who was the Imam before Ismail? That was Imam Saleh. And who was Imam before Musa? Who gave Musa the Isme Azam? There was Maulana Ud. And after Musa, the Imam Harun. Who was the Imam before Prophet Isa? Maulana Khuzaima. And after him was Imam Shamun. Who was the Imam before Prophet Muhammad? Or the question or the answer, who gave Isme Azam? And this is very important in our tariqah. Who gave Isme Azam to Prophet Muhammad? When he was going to Ghar Hira and doing his ibadat, and ibadat cannot be performed without the Isme Azam, and Ali was not yet born, then who gave Isme Azam to Prophet Muhammad? It was the Imran, Imam Abu Talib, who gave Isme Azam to Prophet Muhammad, and that's how he was going to Ghar Hira to perform the ibadat. So we see that our Hujjatan and our Dais and our peers have written extensively about the Imams before Mawla Ali. It is just lack of our knowledge that we don't understand. And I wanted to ask another question on your behalf. Then why do we say that Ali is the first Imam? That would be a good question on your behalf. The reason we count Imam Ali as the first Imam, because he is the first Imam of our cycle of Prophet Muhammad. The Dore Nabawi or Dore Muhammadi or Shariat Muhammadi ke pehle Imam Mawla Ali hue. So on this side of the Prophet Muhammad, Ali was the first Imam. On the other side of the Prophet Muhammad, the last Imam was Imam Imran Abu Talib. Thank you for asking this. Question like this brings so much light and so much understanding for us, because without this understanding, sometimes we will stay confused and sometimes we get stuck in our understanding of our tariqah. Thank you, I truly appreciate it. Any other comments or questions?
Sir, there is one friend who asked a question.
Ji.
They asked if Imams and Prophets are selected, then why they need Isme Azam?
Very good. So, let's just take one example. Very first example, okay? Just one single example of Prophet Muhammad. If Prophet Muhammad is selected, and he is selected, But look at this ayat where it said, I have selected from Ale Ibrahim and Ale Imran. So in the Ale Ibrahim, there were more than one children of Ibrahim, but one was selected to be Imam and other was selected to be Prophet. The Ismail was selected to be Imam and the Prophet of that time. There are only few Imams in the history who held two different titles, a Prophet and the Imam. And that example is Ismail and Ibrahim. They were both Imams and Prophets. And the Isaac on the other side only held one single title of Prophet. So they were both selected. Without the Isme Azam, the selection would be or could be different. And we'll take the example from today's time, so it's easy for us to understand in present. Let's take Sultan Muhammad Shah, may our soul be sacrificed to their Imam. In his last will says, the son of my son Ali Salman, Kareem will be 49th Imam of Shah Ismaili Tariqa. But for whatever reason, if he does not survive me, then Amin Muhammad would be your next Imam of Shah Ismaili Tariqa. Do you see? The selection here was in two different persons. But the Isme Azam of the previous Imam was given to the present Imam. And that Isme Azam decided who the next Imam was. So was it selected? Yes. Did Isme Azam play a role? Yes. And the question or the answer hidden behind this is, it is the Isme Azam which transferred the Noor from the previous Imam to the next Imam. So let's take another example today. Hazir Imam has more than 1, 2, 3, 4 children. Are they all qualified to be Imam? Yes. But Imam will select and give Isme Azam to that son who will become the next Imam. Because we don't understand how an Imam becomes an Imam or how Prophet becomes a Prophet, then this question comes. So inshallah, if you stay within the course, and I promise, I will explain how Imam becomes Imam, how a selection works, and how Isme Azam works. Because it is the selection and the Isme Azam that plays role in Imam or the Prophet becoming a Prophet and the Imam. G. Very good question. So I'm going to go ahead and write this question also, and we will explore how Imam becomes Imam. G. Any other question or comment?
Just a follow-up comment from the earlier discussion on Rahman and Rahim and the difference between the two, and also to get probe a little bit further into the esoteric meaning of Rahman taught the Quran. You mentioned that in earlier lecture we mentioned, of course, Rahman is for universal mercy that sustains all of creation, you can say, or all the souls at a universal level. And you also mentioned that Rahman one has to become truly alive before reaching that stage where it can be said that Rahman teaches you the Quran to make a real insan, you have to become spiritually alive. So I was just wondering, in that sense, since we understand the concept of the macrocosm and microcosm, if Rahman is the universal mercy for all of creation macrocosmically, meaning the external universe, then can we say here that when one is spiritually alive and one becomes truly alive, in that sense, your microcosm has become alive? And the theory of microcosm is that everything which exists, all of creation, also exists within the human being. And the concept of monoreality comes in here as well. But in this sense, when you become truly alive, all of the creation that's externally outward manifested is also within you. And at this level, when Rahman makes you alive and teaches you the Quran, in some sort of sense, it's like teaching all the, if you want to call it, the particles or the shadows of all the souls in creation within one individual human being. Would that be a good way to look at Rahman teaching the Quran and making the insan?
Ji, that is true, and that is the principle of Wakul Shahin. When a Mu'min become one with the Imam, he also becomes the Wakul Shahin because he is with the Imam, within the Nur of Imam. Now he is truly alive with Imam. So everything becomes alive within him, and there where all this miracles takes place, where he is taught the Quran. Remember, he is not dead yet. He is one with the Imam, but still living. He still looks like you and me. हम उसको उर्दू में कहते हैं कि सर के ऊपर कोई सिंग नहीं उग जाते हैं और कोई पर नहीं लग जाते हैं. He will not grow a wings or सिंग निकल नहीं जाते हैं सर के ऊपर. वो इंसान ही दिखता है. But because he is one with the Imam, now Imam is teaching him the Quran, and he is teaching him the language of the Quran, the Tawilat, because he is truly alive with the Imam. Good comment and good comparison, yes. Any other question or comment?
I got a small comment about Isme Azam and the prophets and the Imams. There is another line as far as Isme Azam for the moments or the people. And of course, we have seen examples that even without the Isme Azam, if you dive deep in yourselves, like Mansur al-Allaj, he was not smiley, but he could reach his essence as well, as we see in the Farman.
Okay, I wanted to correct this concept. With apology. Dr. Saib, if a person can elevate oneself without Isme Azam, then what we are saying that we do not need Imam. And I'll give you two examples. You already given one example of Mansur al-Hajj. How do we know that he did not receive the Isme Azam from the Imam? Second example is Rumi. On surface, you do not see Rumi being smiley, but he was in the talimat of Fir Shams. So without being smiley, I did not say smiley only receives the Isme Azam. I said this Isme Azam is only received by Imam. As a Rahman, Imam is for all. So whoever work hard, as Mansur al-Hajj or Rumi, can receive the Isme Azam from the Imam in his Batin. But there is no way a person can elevate himself in a spiritual level without the Isme Azam. Having said that, there is a lower level of spiritualism exists in non-Ismaili, non-Muslim community. There is a lower level of spiritualism exists, but there is a lower level of spiritualism, and that is not good for them, nor is good for humanity. and I'm going to write this down, and if you give me permission, I will explore this surah and ayat where Allah talks about the lower level of spiritualism without this Ismi Azam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any other question or comment? If not, let's stop here. Inshallah, we will meet again next week. Thank you, everybody. Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Thank you.
Yali Madad, Yali Madad, Yali Madad.